The lafta fola, the primary objective of university, ka karangoke. And under what may come, woman yana kuntula. From government, from the university management, to the student leaders, wol nyanta jela ko karango. Ne aje molka kodojo ka taje nyanta karanare. Along replacement of teachers, for 7 years, I lectured IT and ICT. When I first started, that was in 2006, the first class I handled, there was a student, when their class was done, he decided to stay over. He asked me, Mr. Jah, I said yes. He says, can I stay in your class? I said yes. If there is any space, you may do so. He was not part of my class. But little did I know that he wanted to observe my teaching method and techniques compared to his own teacher. I allowed him to stay. In the midst of the lectures, he says, Mr. Jah, I want to appeal. Can I join your class? And I asked, why? He said, I was teaching Microsoft Word by then. He says, I did Word, by then he was doing Excel. But the way I see you teach your students is very different from the way we were taught. I allowed him. Yeah? Replacing a lecturer, it's okay. But the lecturer being replaced, would they deliver us of that one? We all go to school, we all graduate. But when it comes to wisdom, we're not at par. And when it comes to teaching methods, sometimes you have to develop that technically by yourself. Like me, in any class that I handle, I know there are fast learners and slow learners. How do you combine the two? That is my technique. So that's why any class I can handle. So the essence of university, students must learn. Why do you need to emphasize of that? They leaders of this country. We look into the young people that they're taking over this country. Now, these challenges sometimes even would traumatize students. And at whatever may happen, they should not allow that. And again, a word of advice. The staff association should not be exempting you as a member of that council to excuse in certain issues. You should be there to advise on matters, especially what would affect the students. There is nobody in a better position to advise them on what needs to be done than you. But having you been excused, whatever decisions they might take might not be the best because you have direct contact with the students. And as a leader, communication is important. But effective communication is what sums up a good leadership. And as a leader, whenever you speak, you should be able to move the people. Like this protest being planned, you could have intervened and said, okay, let's leave the protest and do A, B, and C, and the students will follow. If they feel or understand that their rights or their interests and welfare has been emphasized, is being met, they will definitely flow with the leadership. But at times, when you handle leadership position, you become in between, where you have to take sides, not practically or verbally, but mentally. Sometimes you take sides without uttering word. And how that is judged is the actions that are taken afterward. Where do you find yourself? That to you might be something wise, but people from outside would come, not only accusation, but they will reach to judgments based on what was done. What I'm saying is you go to our neighboring country here in Senegal, security forces don't enter their universities. Our authorities should respect the university as an institution of learning, not to even enter to intimidate students, rather to use tear gas on those students who had no weapons. I, as a lecturer, I had a student who was a soldier at Fajara Barracks. There was a day he came to class in full JS, in full uniform, and he said, Mr. Jah, I am really sorry that today I have to come to class in full uniform. I downplay and says, no, don't worry, if it's nothing. He says, yes, of course it's something. The uniform is very intimidating. No matter what happens, when you engage into dialogues, it should be a win-win situation. But it must not be on one side of the scale and the other it's ignored. Because I read the press release from the police saying that a section of the students, they had a dialogue with them and they had an agreement, but the other section, they are not in agreement. You don't call that a dialogue. Students are students. The entire university are what you can call a student union. So how did they reach to agreeing with some and others did not agree? I find it very difficult to understand that, and you can't call that a dialogue. You rather call that a negotiation. not a dialogue. Dialogue must be a win-win situation. If a dialogue was reached upon, then the protest would not have occurred on Monday. But what I am concluding to say is learning. I'm not focusing even on teaching, but sometimes the staff association will protect their interests and neglect that of the students. Now, the students, the leadership is you people. You're there for the students. These are times when you must not agree with everything that the staff association will tell you or would want to push you to. You should always, no matter what, take sides with the students. You also have an interest that you need to protest. That is what? Quality education and learning should be a continuous process, no matter what happens. It must not be jeopardized because this is the future. The staff association have already graduated. They're enjoying their monthly salaries, allowances, bonuses, and whatever. But the students are in the process. You don't equate the two. At all costs, stand with the students and defend their interests and welfare, as it is stipulated in your constitution, without compromise. That's when your leadership authority would be recognized and you'll enjoy the support of majority of the students rather than the union being divided. If you continue to have divisions, I don't see the need of maintaining that name union. The name union should be well understood. Yes.
Togetherness. Togetherness. Oneness.
Yes.
In your response also, can you include, because I saw the police have issued a statement taking responsibility for the tear gas that was...
That should not have happened.
No, it should not have happened. It should not happen. You understand? Taking the responsibility of the tear gas and the person has been identified, disciplinary, whatever. But the reason why I brought it up, I have never seen in the history of this country a protest happen, tear gas dispersed, or they beat people and the police comes out to take responsibility and said it was done and we know it was wrong.
And you apologize.
We apologize.
I saw
And somebody,
no, wait,
Let me come.
Another thing I saw. No, listen. Buba, allow me a minute. Another thing I saw in the video, it's when the students climb up the stairs to reach to the vice chancellor's office.
Yeah.
And the PIU use force like beating them, pushing them down.
Push them with
You
force.
don't do that.
Yeah.
People could fall over.
Crowd
It could
control.
even cause death or serious injuries.
Yeah, crowd control.
Crowd control. No, wait.
Crowd control is our
Wait,
problem.
wait.
They were demanding for him to come out
Yes.
and speak to them, or they wanted to give him something.
No.
Now,
When
listen,
you come
when you
out.
want to do crowd
Can I-
control, when you want to do crowd control,
Yeah,
the crowd that is down, you try to create a barrier,
Yeah.
push them away,
Sure.
and you should be able to negotiate with those that are on the stage to come down, not forcefully,
Sure.
not
But that's
forcefully.
not cause
And
damage.
throwing tear gas into or to any crowd is not crowd control. Crowd control is closer to them to move them away.
That is
But
out of
not to
bounds.
throw tear gas
That is out of
inside or within the car. You don't call that crowd control.
Going against the police.
But then we're having press
these
conference.
things. No.
Yeah.
In the press
it.
conference, they all condemned the
Yeah,
police.
yes, you have condemned it.
No.
They all write a statement indicating that what was done
Definitely.
was
Yeah.
wrong and that they are saying massa to the students.
No. If you.
And that they even would want to investigate internally and sue the Gambia police for hiding.
No, sorry.
That's what they said. They don't know what to do.